Kollege. Yo, this is nuts. Oh my gosh, this song is just perfect for this channel. Hey everybody, it's me Rosalie. Welcome back to the Ultimate World Music Reaction channel, all about music from around the world, reacting to different videos, talking about the psychology and the philosophy. I want to check out something by the German band Rammstein. I listened to their song Deutschland a while back. Really big band, huge in Germany, all around Europe, all around the world. They've become renowned and known and loved by many. They're known for some quite provocative and serious and intense songs, not only when it comes to the music genre, but also their lyrics, their videos. And you encouraged me, you asked me to go check out their song Zeit. Zeit is German for time. So, hallo nach Deutschland. Hey to all my German people and all my German-speaking people. Let's check out Rammstein, Zeit. As always, make sure to like, share, subscribe, share this content with a friend, and help me grow this channel. Welcome to the community. Okie dokie. Los geht's. Okay, ich fange von vorne an. I'll start over. So, I know that Rammstein is known for their heavy metal, heavy rock, like I said earlier, provocative, intense music videos, songs, lyrics. I don't really know their music. Didn't ever really listen to it growing up. That was never my forte or genre. I knew of Du hast mich, right? And that's about it. Didn't dive into their music. I listened to Deutschland, and that was intense and heavy and interesting and just loaded. And some of you pointed out that there are these references, and that when I mentioned that I love the piano interludes and certain compositions and compositional elements, you were talking about their song Sonne, sun, German for sun, and like sunshine. And you different people in the comments would point that out, how that snippet was taken from Sonne, I think. Here with Zeit, I'm already getting a very different feel than what I got when I listened to Deutschland. Starts with the piano, starts with this choral vocalization. Ganz anders, totally different than the vibe that I got from the song Deutschland, Germany. So, let's see. I'm going to start over. Is that a rope? Underwater?
Manches sollte, manches nicht. Wir sehen doch, sind wir blind. Wir werfen Schatten ohne Licht. Nach uns wird es vorher geben, aus der Jugend wird schon Not. Wir sterben weiter, bis wir leben, sterben lebend in den Tod. Dem Ende treiben wir entgegen, keine Rast, nur vorwärts streben. Am Ufer winkt Unendlichkeit, gefangen so im Fluss der Zeit. Bitte bleib stehen, bleib stehen.
Wow.
Zeit, das soll immer so weitergehen. Warmer Körper ist bald kalt, Zukunft kann man nicht beschwören, duldet keinen Aufenthalt, erschaffen und sogleich zerstören. Ich liege hier in deinen Armen.
Wow. Alter Feger. Kollege. Yo, this is nuts. Their cinematography, their music videos are like movies. I saw that in Deutschland, and like I said, I'm new to the world of Rammstein, which is silly. I'm German and Cuban, born and raised in Germany. Deutschland is mein Heimatland. So I know for many who are non-German, they love Rammstein for the music, may not understand it. For me, this is my language. I understand everything he's saying, but I never really dove into that band because, again, I was like, metal, hard rock, um, and I know there's some songs out there of theirs that are so provocative that I don't want to bring them to this channel, and we're not going to dive into that. But I'm thankful you've suggested this particular one because there's so much here. Oh my goodness. We'll talk at the end because I don't really want to interrupt or talk about it too much throughout. I hope I can remember everything I'm thinking, but just pay attention to the details. I mean, just the whole concept of things moving backward as he sings about time, right? And oh my goodness, this is perfect for this channel. The psychology and the idea behind things going backward when we all know time, for one, is an illusion, but also it moves forward. And so to have these different incidences and moments where soldiers are fighting, where children have weapons in their hand, but time is moving backward to now there's a baby. This is not another person or an adult. There's no enemy anymore. Time has moved back. And this is a baby, right? Which obviously is going to stun the people, is going to stop these children in their tracks. Just so much here. This creature that looks like maybe a personification of time, right? With the light in its face, almost looks like some type of symbol, some type of religious or mystical or universal symbol. That cloak that gives off that angel of death vibe, but again, more maybe a reflection of time being personified. Just loaded with good stuff. And I have to say, I love Till Lindemann's voice. I love this group and their singing, their songwriting. But I love also now that it's not just your typical, oh, this is rock again or metal again. There's elements here that are quite techno and EDM-like, and that gives it a unique feel. And that's also that's impressive to me to see that they're more than just some heavy rock, heavy metal band. They can't really be boxed into just that category. Let's go back a bit.
Und sogleich zerstört. Ich liege hier in deinen Armen, ach, könnte es doch für immer sein. Doch die Zeit kennt kein Erbarmen, schon ist der Moment vorbei. Wenn unsere Zeit gekommen ist, dann ist es Zeit zu gehen. Aufhören, wenn's am schönsten ist, die Uhren bleiben stehen. So perfekt ist der Moment, doch weiter läuft die Zeit. Augenblick, verweile doch. Ich bin noch nicht bereit. Zeit, bitte bleib stehen, bleib stehen. Zeit,
Boah. I am mind blown right now. Leute, ich kann nicht mehr. Ich kann nicht mehr. Ich bin absolut baff. I am completely speechless. Guys, oh my gosh. The reason why I'm want to cry, why this is so emotional to me, and maybe many of you, is because it's relatable. The idea of time and how it just keeps running away, running through our fingers, pleading with time, please stop, slow down, and it doesn't. Oh my gosh, this song is just perfect for this channel. If you, oh my, this is a masterpiece. Okay, I like telling you guys. I like to break things down in categories. I actually don't often think in categories, nor do I speak in categories because I'll be all over the place, just so much. But I don't want to overwhelm or confuse you as listeners, so let me try to break it down. Number one, musically, the the composition of this, from the piano interlude to the way that it creates this dun 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 dun, right, almost like a clock. I picture a clock and how the seconds and the minutes keep moving, bum 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 bum, right. It gives me this feeling of like tick tock, feelings that evokes, right. This composition, it starts somber, it starts peaceful, right? Maybe the way that we would want music to sound when we're reflecting on birth and death, right? It begins soft, right? When a newborn is born, though it's not very soft or sweet, it's very painful and very brutal. There's something so sweet and innocent, and this awe, this moment of somber silence when someone comes into this world and when someone leaves. I've even heard it said that when you are in the presence of someone who dies, if you can, not to be so quick just to jump up and go get the doctor and the nurse, but to sit in that moment as their spirit is leaving their body, as they breathe their last breath, unless, of course, the person needs medical attention. But I've heard that there's something so somber, dare I say spiritual, in the room when someone breathes their last breath. And when, say, your family member or friend or a loved one passes, to allow yourself to sit in that, if you can, for just a moment. There's something somber and calm. So the composition is fitting. And of course, the song builds and has this crescendo and this amazing climaxing. That too is so fitting to the song, to this idea of time and the tragedy and the disaster of not being able to hold on to things. People growing old, the ones we love the most, our spouses, our children, ourselves. Time is just ticking. Of course, there's so much symbolism here, but still talking music. The composition just creating this feeling of, again, somber silence and reflection, building to intense passion and a dramatic, very fitting to life and to time. His voice. This band is phenomenally talented, but I believe the lead singer is Till Lindemann, right? His voice, the vibrato and that timbre and texture of his voice, to me is phenomenal. Very masculine and strong voice that just resonates and rings in the room. The R that he would roll, the R, and this passion and growl at times, so fitting. I mean, just amazing musicians, highly skilled. That's music. Talking about the cinematography, it's like a movie. It's not even just a music video. So powerful to have this continuous red thread of the sand throughout this. For one, because it makes me think of time, right? Those sand watches, the Sanduhr that you would turn around, right? And the sand trickles through, right? Maybe as a child you enjoyed watching it, or even now people use it as a decorative piece, right? We don't necessarily measure time with it anymore because we have our analog and digital watches. Now we have phones and Siri, right? But there were different ways throughout history to measure time, as you know, sand, right, the sun, shadow. So even in the lyrics, when it speaks of shadow without light, is fitting because time would be measured that way. The Sonnenuhr, right, measuring time based on where the shadow falls and the sun, where the sun is during the day. But you have the sand trickling down. That's powerful. Also powerful because sand makes me think of earth and dust. We return to dust, right? Even scripture and different religious texts speak of returning to from where we came from, returning back to the dirt, to the dust. Um, Powerful to see how while the song was moving forward, while the song was progressing, they were dealing with this idea of time running. The video moved backward. Things were moving backward, as I mentioned earlier. People in war, right? A huge element that defines human history. All the wars we fought in the name of God and power and politics, but time was moving back to the point where it's now children aiming at one another. And there's such not even irony, tragedy when we reflect on that all these adults fighting, that doesn't just go for war, that goes for social media, the way we bombard each other with comments, the way that people argue and fight about meaningless things. In the grand scheme of things, they're meaningless. All of these people, all of these adults, all of us looking to be heard and seen and validated, were once children. Picture these adults that are fighting, be it in real wars or in verbal or emotional war, now as children, right? Time is moving backward. There's our kids, and it keeps moving to the point where now they're babies. And these children are stunned. You could see it in their face. There's this element of shock and surprise because they're not going to shoot the baby. Imagine if we thought like that more, if we realized these were children once. This is someone's son. This is someone's daughter I'm speaking to. This was a baby once. If this was still a child, we wouldn't do that. Most wouldn't. If this was a baby, we wouldn't. So brutal and graphic. Even the birthing scene, it really is another example of how Rammstein is not afraid to just be like brutally honest. I mean, I feel like in Germany there are certain topics that are more talked about than in American culture anyways, or more publicly addressed, right? Say nudity or certain things that occur in TV or so on and so forth, or in children's books, educational books, where here things are more, cautiously reviewed. And I think that is also fair. There's a time and a place to address things and to address them in a proper manner. There's wisdom in not just being like, well, this is reality, kiddos. Let me tell you what's up, and then just flash everybody. There's wisdom in presenting things educationally and properly based on the development of a child and a human being, where they're at and what they struggle with. Okay, we all have different triggers and different things that make us stumble and areas to grow and learn. But they're not afraid to address that. I mean, it just showed everything, right? Just full on the brutal, bloody, raw miracle that is childbirth, okay? And as it kept moving backward, again, the war, the baby, birth, all these things that we all can relate to, right? As men and women fighting in wars, trying to conquer, right? As mankind, as time keeps moving, we're trying to make a claim for ourselves. Again, this goes for wars and how countries have evolved and how people have moved around. How people have moved around the globe. But this also goes for on a micro level, not just as a society and as humanity. This goes for us as individuals, right? The way we try to establish ourselves as men and women, as families, in our careers. Everybody wants to have a stake in something. Everybody wants to claim a stake. Not the food, but as in, they want to pitch their tent and say, this is my territory. And so we fight and we think, it's just this or it's just that, when it's often a combination of many things, right? We want to label things and say, this is that ism or that phobia or this and that. We want to give things a name because we want to understand. We want to catch the sand in our hand. We want to gain some type of control because it gives us safety. It gives us a sense of belonging. We can be very tribal, as Ren pointed out, right? We have this desire to belong to a group. We have this desire to be affirmed, right? We look for bias confirmation. This is happening in real time. You probably came here because you love Rammstein. But at the same time, we can also swing to the other extreme of being territorial, right? And claiming our spot. But time just keeps trickling. And so everything kept moving backward. And these experiences that are known to all of us, from wars to fights to giving birth, these crucial events that we know as human beings, to the point of this man and woman sitting there, right? Love, relationship, family. We know this. And how time kept coming for them all. Even this little girl running and then hiding in the cloak of this being that I believe represented time. And as I mentioned earlier, that light within that cloak, it almost gave off this vibe of like death, right? The angel of death is coming for you. Death is coming for you. But here it didn't feel so much as just death is coming, but as in time. Time is coming for all of us. We're all running out of it. And this child disappearing in the cloak of that being. It was interesting to me that there were three of them, because I know the number three is very important in various religious circles. In Christianity, you have Father, Son, Holy Spirit, God, three in one, the Trinity, and such concepts that have developed over the course of church history. Then you have the number three in different ways that mean things. Be it, when it comes to sacred numbers and mythology or symmetry, be it different religions that value that number. There's even movies, and I can't think of the movie right now. Yeah, the Timekeepers. I think it made me think of the three Timekeepers. They were those three androids created by He Who Remains, which is also such a powerful and unique name. He Who Remains, right? Makes me think of references to God, to that intelligent being, this idea of Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, right? He Who Remains. Created by He Who Remains, three androids programmed to serve as his mouthpiece and figurehead creators of the time variance authority. So, in connection with Marvel and the multiverse war and those timekeepers, there were three. And so, seeing those beings in this movie, and Rammstein's song Zeit came out a year ago, premiered March 10th of 2022, over 44 million views. So it made me think of those timekeepers. I don't know if that's what inspired to present time like that. I'm sure those references of there being these three beings and timekeepers may go back even beyond Marvel and those comics and those creations. But it is very fitting, very relevant, very fitting to those who like sci-fi, who like that mindset. And then the lyrics. So we spoke music, we spoke music video. Let's speak lyrics. It says some things should be, some things shouldn't. That's how I would translate manches sollte, manches nicht. Some things should, some things should not. We see, but we're still blind. We're throwing shadows, we're casting shadows without light. Powerfully poetic, right? Again, like I said, you would measure time with the shadow and the light from the sun throughout the day. But at the same time, powerful because it's this idea of we're blind. We see, but we're blind. We cast a shadow and there's no light. It's almost like we don't recognize, we're blind to it. And that too was interesting because everything was moving backwards in the music video. This rope was coming up and these people were coming down into the water. The rope was that noose that wrapped around his neck. But just really amazing, creative, artsy cinematography there. After us, there will be a before. And that's also so poetic. Oh my goodness, to think that whatever comes after us will be before something else. This idea of just past, present, and future. You know what I mean? It's just this concept of time is an illusion. We think we try to categorize and understand because we're 2-3-dimensional beings. So multiverse and all these different layers are a little bit mind-blowing. But to think that technically past, present, future is an illusion. All we have is the now, right? You can never go back into the past. If you did, that would be your new present. You can never go into the future. If you did, that would be your new present. You would be here and now in the future. And so it's the present again. We die, we continue dying until we live. Livingly dying, I guess, into death. Sterben lebend. We're dying alive into death, or we're dying living into death. I mean, just it's powerful. It's really poetic. I don't think the translations always do it justice. And it also said, aus der Jugend wird schon Not. Youth becomes this disaster, this need, this tragedy, right? We see that all the time, right? Our youth fades and we turn old, and now we have needs, right? Our bodies are fading, we're getting tired, we're getting weary. there's a need there. We're floating towards the end. Treiben. Wir treiben dem Ende entgegen. Yeah, it makes me think not so much of this active, oh, I'm swimming towards it, I'm heading there, right? It's not this active, excited, I got a goal. It's more treiben, like when you have wood just floating and drifting. Drifting is a better translation, right? It's almost like you have no chance. The wood is drifting with the river. It's not just actively swimming, and we're drifting towards it, even though we're pleading with time to stop. Am Ufer winkt Unendlichkeit. Ooh, oh my gosh, the songwriting is so good. The eternity, I guess, unendingness, eternity waves at us at the shore. Yo. Gefangen so im Fluss der Zeit, caught like this in that river of time. Please stop. And even that hook was very catchy. The melody of the hook was very, very catchy. Bitte bleib stehen. Please stand still. Time. It will keep continuing like this. Warm bodies, soon cold, right? We die, our bodies get cold. Zukunft kann man nicht beschwören. You can't, how would I translate that? You can't manipulate or, what is it when you put a spell on something? Beschwören. You can't either put a spell, I would say you would translate it as you can't put a spell on the future. At least in this context, I take it, I like that, right? I'm trying to persuade, I'm trying to cast a spell on the future, so it's, merciful with me. Duldet keinen Aufenthalt. It doesn't tolerate stopping. It doesn't tolerate hanging out or stopping. Erschaffen und sogleich zerstören. Creating something and at the same time immediately destroying it. I'm laying here in your arms. Oh, if it just could be like this forever, but time knows no mercy, and the moment is already past. The most poetic, beautiful, powerful way of really dealing with our existential fears. Because I think when we talk existential fears, at least for me, or we're talking death anxieties, I think though for some it is true terror of death and panic, I think for many of us, for one, we often don't think about it. It's uncomfortable being around those who are sick and dying. It's uncomfortable being around those who are grieving someone's death, but it's also hard to talk about it because it's something that blows our mind. The idea of eternity, of something not ending, the idea of death, of something being finite, of not being here anymore is really, really hard to grasp. And I think that's why sometimes it's uncomfortable, because how do you enjoy talking about something that you can't comprehend? We can philosophize about it all day, but it's just so mind-blowing. And so this idea of, man, I wish I could be in this moment with you, but it's already past. And isn't that crazy? I mean, even when I just said this, that was already gone. Even now, I'm speaking into my mic and you hear the sound of my voice. That moment's gone. And it's so hard to be present and to fully savor with our senses what is happening around us. And it's therapeutic, right? When we're feeling anxious because our mind is running wild, we're obsessed with the past, we're anxious about the future. Regardless if it's depression, we're so hopeless, we don't want to get up out of bed, or we're anxious. They say it's very good to ground yourself, to be mindfulness, right? Fill your mind, as I would say right now, with things that are in the present. Touch something, right? Smell something, taste something, see, hear, right? Use your senses to really ground yourself, to be present, even if it's literally putting your feet on the ground and feeling the texture of whatever is on the floor between your toes. Being present to the here and now is powerful, and it's therapeutic, and people recommend it. It's part of meditation. It's helpful. Even sometimes just becoming more present to our own bodies, right? Relax your shoulders as you're hearing this. Just take a deep breath with me and drop the shoulders. Relax your forehead and your jawline. We try to do those things. We try to become more present. It helps maybe for a moment, depending on the level of our distress. But it's so incredibly hard to do that consistently because life moves on. We're busy. There's things that need to be done, people that need our attention, needs that need to be met. So there's just this more than a dance, this battle, this plea here with time to stop. But it won't. Everyone knows that perfect moment. It is so beautiful. Please stand still. When our time has come, it is time to go. Wenn unsere Zeit gekommen ist, dann ist es Zeit zu gehen. You see that play here? Just the even the literary art here in German. I mean, it works in English too right now, but even in German, the literary art that's being applied here, from the rhymes to the opposites, just very poetic. Aufhören, wenn es am schönsten ist. Die Uhren bleiben stehen. To stop when it's the nicest. Because that's also a saying, oh, you're supposed to stop when it's nicest, right? When it's the best, so to speak. Like it's like a German phrase or idiom. And so even integrating that here and speak about that, right? Just stop when you're at your best. The moment is perfect, but time keeps going, keeps walking. Augenblick, verweile doch. Ich bin noch nicht bereit. Moment, linger for a while. I'm not ready yet. Time, please stand still. Everyone knows that perfect moment. And I think that is also a powerful statement because, for one, we can relate to how time keeps moving. We all know it. Our children are growing up. Time moves on. We're getting older. Our bodies are changing. We can literally see gravity pulling on us. We can relate to that experience, to those existential fears, those death anxieties, because we know time is coming for us it's time for us to go. But at the same time, we can also relate to those moments we experience, or hopefully all of us experience, where we wish that moment would linger. Be it a nice moment during a vacation, or a moment where you feel a sense of love or bliss or joy. It could be something like while you're eating a meal and it's like, wow, I wish I could eat this forever, or you're with a loved one. This is just very relatable in so many ways, but a powerful song. I loved the compositional elements, the piano, the emotion that brought in, but I also love these elements of techno and EDM that were in this song, that were beyond just rock or metal or something. There's just you just can't quite box this band in, and they're not afraid to talk about these real and deep things, and I really, really like it. Ich bin echt beeindruckt. I'm really impressed. What did you think? Subscribe, like, comment, share. We went to Germany today on our ride around the world, exploring music and lyrics and psychology. It's so deep and powerful. There's not much to say other than explore what this means. But may it be an encouragement to all of us to be present and to savor the time we do have. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on the next ride. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Eyo!